Universal Star, Sunburst, and True Love by Switch Down. It has been 6 months since Universal Star was reformed with the help of Galaxy Star, her ultimate self, and with the help of the elements of harmony. Everything was going quite well in her universe, and all her old enemies as now her friends. But for the past 6 months, she has been feeling lonely until she met Sunburst, who was living in the Crystal Empire. She was really stunned to see how handsome he was. He was so skilled in magic, but she didn't know anything about it, what his name were or where he's from, until she asked some of her friends. It turns out his name was Sunburst, and that he was from Crystal Empire. And she was very stunned to see him. She was actually falling in love with Sunburst, but she was so scared that he wouldn't like her back, because 6 months earlier she was one of the biggest villains in Equestria in her universe, until she was reformed. But now she just wants to move on and one day to be able to settle down and have her own family. But in this time, she would try to date a few stallions before she met Sunburst. But unfortunately, most of her dates didn't last between only for 1 or 2 dates. Mostly because the other stallions didn't seems to be connected with her. Not because of her bad past, but ever since then she had decided to give up with all her dates. And that was until she saw and met Sunburst when he came to Ponyville to see Starlight and Twilight for a visit. Over time she wonders could she be with Sunburst even if that he perhaps doesn't even like her because of her evil bad past. She tried to forget about him, but it didn't work because her feelings for him were just getting stronger and stronger for each single day that passed. Even she tried to get out of her mind, but it turns out it didn't work. So one day, she decided to reach out to Galaxy Star to ask for help. So Galaxy Star at the time was still married with Tirek and having taken care of her daughters Leah and Firesparks. But since then, Tirek and Galaxy Star were just happily married and having a family of their own, and everything was quite well in Ponyville in their universe until one day Galaxy Star got a message, but not an ordinary message at all. It was actually from Universal Star. She asked Galaxy Star if she could come to her universe for help. She needed to talk to her. And Galaxy Star asked for why didn't just talk if she could come to her universe, but Galaxy Star was then informed by her counterpart, Universal Star, that she preferred Galaxy Star come to her. But then Galaxy Star asked for any details of why she needed to come, and or why she could just talk over the message as before. Universal Star was quiet for a moment, but she explained that she preferred telling her in Pony face to face. So Galaxy Star agrees, and then she tells Tirek that she is going back to the other universe to talk to her ultimate self. And Tirek just said, well, be careful. If this that she says that she is reformed, but who knows? She might be evil again. This might be some trick. Remember, it can be just some trick. But Galaxy Star assured him that it wasn't a trick, because she knew in her heart that her counterpart is reformed. She then went to Twilight to ask her for help, and Twilight was informed, at least from what she was told from her counterpart, and Twilight agrees, and she opened the portal between the universes, and Universal Star was waiting at her home when Galaxy Star arrived. Galaxy Star and Universal Star gave each other a hug, but for the most part it says she felt that something was a bit off with her counterpart. But not with nothing evil inside her. She could sense all the goodness inside, but she could see that she was a little bit worried. So they went to her home and sat down and drank some tea when Universal Star explained every detail to Galaxy Star what's going on. At first, Galaxy Star just looked at her counterpart and wonders why would she walk up to Sunburst and explain how she feels about it. But Galaxy Star was told by her counterpart that she didn't want to do it because of for one reason. She was afraid that she would be laughed or rejected. She's biggest fear was that Sunburst would not be in a slightly interest in her. And Galaxy Star assured her, you have to be confident. But even if that she tried to convince her to talk to Sunburst, there was just one problem. Sunburst was not in Ponyville anymore. He was just there for a visit for about 2 weeks ago, and he was in Crystal Empire. And since then, she tried to at least figure out write a letter to Sunburst, but that means she had to open to him, reveal how she knows about him, and she never passed that part of even writing his letters. But over time, she realized she has to do it, even if she was really scared. Even Universal Star asked Galaxy Star what she knows about Sunburst from her universe. But even if that she explained some details about Sunburst in her universe, she explained to her counterpart that even if it was some of the information that she had about her Sunburst, it could be being opposite in her universe. So Galaxy Star explained to Universal Star, why wouldn't they go to the Crystal Empire so they can meet Sunburst face to face? But then Universal Star gets really nervous. She said that she would need to think about it first. So over the night, Universal Star had offered Galaxy Star to stay in her place until tomorrow. So the next couple of days afterwards, Sunburst was actually still back in Crystal Empire, and he was now training the next ruler in line on the throne, Flurryheart. But he was now her teacher, as it was before. But he remembers when he was in Ponyville a couple of weeks earlier that he saw this very strange mare, an Alicorn. He had heard about this evil ruler, or at least an evil mare, but he didn't expect that she would be the same mare that was once evil. He was informed by, at least from Shining Armor, that there was only a few alicorns in Equestria. His daughter, Celestia and Luna, and Twilight, and of course Cadence, but now there was another one. Universal Star was actually one of them. And Sunburst, he was actually very curious about her. So he asked Shining Armor what he knows about her. But since Shining Armor didn't exactly know so much about her, but at least he gives Sunburst some information what he did know. At least that he knows now she is reformed and she practiced her magic only to help others. But she has been refused. She actually refused to be a princess and entitled. All she wants is to help. She doesn't want to ruling anyone at all. But at the same time in Pondeville, Universal Star and Galaxy Star had decided to go to Crystal Empire to talk to Sunburst. On the way on the train, Galaxy Star was calm. She was absorbed. She was looking on the train windows to see how the landscape changed from cities to trees to forests to open plains. And soon she can see a mountain ridge in the distance. Now she knows it isn't far away to the Crystal Empire. But at the same time, as they're getting closer and closer to the Empire, Universal Star, she was getting more nervous and more nervous for every moment. She felt that she just wanted to teleport back to Pulneville, or at least jump out the window of her train and run back home. But Galaxy Star had ensured her not to do it, because even if that was not the safe way to do, but she can't run away from her feelings one more time, because who knows if she will have another chance, an opportunity to tell Sunburst. And Galaxy Star informed her that who knows, one day he might find another mare and settle down with her instead, and then Universal Star would have lost her opportunity to tell him how she feels about him. And that made her decide she needs to tell him, even if that he is going to reject her and that he doesn't even like her the same way. But when the train arrived to the Crystal Empire, both were so eager to meet him, but especially Universal Star. But when they arrived to the station, they were surrounded at least by 2 guards, and they were taken to the palace by orders from Shining Armor and Cadence. It turns out Twilight back in Ponyville had informed her brother that Galaxy Star and Universal Star is coming. They were not taken as prisoners, but as taken directly to the palace where Sunburst now lived. Well, temporarily. He lived in the palace since his home was going to be renovated, was to be rebuilt after some small accidents. Even if that in the palace, Shining Armor, Cadence talked to both Galaxy Star and Universal Star, but then Shining Armor wanted to talk to Universal Star alone. When they came back, it turns out Shining Armor already knew about this for some reason. Cadence had explained to him that when she saw Sunburst came back home from a visit 2 weeks ago from Ponyville, he was a bit unusually different way. He studied more about the alicorns than he usually did. Mostly because he asked some questions to Cadence, mostly imperfect, just her, about the alicorns. If she know if there could be any other alicorns out there, if Celestia or Luna had any other previously student who became a princess. But from what Celestia and Cadence knew, Either Celestia or Luna didn't have any other past student that became a princess. So Universal Star was actually born a naturally unicorn, and she has been born in Equestria. So that he was wondering, why would that not be in any on records? Of course, that no one knows exactly know why for sure why there was no records about Universal Star was born as an alicorn. But when Cadence came back to the palace much later with Sunburst, he was stunned to see both Galaxy Star and Universal Star in the palace throne room. But when he saw Universal Star was playing with Flurry Heart, his heart jumped a beat, and he realized she was astonished beautiful. And of course, for the next couple of days, both of them spent some time talking, and she had explained and even revealed her true feelings for Sunburst. And he took that really surprisingly, but he didn't reject her, cause he didn't expect her to be in love with him. But he didn't say that he didn't love her back because this was something new. But he decided to give it as a try, and they start dating. Galaxy Star decided to remain in this universe for the next 4 weeks. After that, Universal Star had asked her. But even though that she stayed in this universe for 4 weeks, she is still regular contact with her husband Tirek and her children back home. And after 4 weeks, she was getting a news from Universal Star saying she and Sunburst was now dating and were now a couple. It took her 4 weeks to even astonish this announcement, and they asked to be informed even further about in the future. And of course she did. A couple of days later, Galaxy Star returned back to her universe. But then suddenly, all contact with her counterpart stopped for the next 2 weeks. She was really worried because they had almost contact regular basis. But now, for 2 weeks there's no contact, she was getting more worried for every moment that passed. And she wonders, could something happen to her? But that silence stopped because one day Sunburst contacted her. She had been informed by Sunburst that he and Universal Star is getting married. They had just been dating for at least a couple of weeks and almost a month, and now getting married? Sunburst had realized his feelings for Universal Star was just getting stronger for each single day that passed. And of course, Galaxy Star wanted to go to the wedding, but suddenly the portal between the two universes didn't work. And there was nothing magical part, just there was some random accident. But when it opened, she went to the wedding, and it was just amazing. She's seeing her counterpart so happy with Sunburst. After the wedding itself, both of them went to Saudi Arabia for a week in honeymoon, and both was actually very happy. But when they came back, both decided to live in Crystal Empire. And of course, she had to give up her home in Ponyville, but she didn't mind that because now she had some special someone to live with. And just barely 2 years later, Galaxy Star was told by a counterpart she was going to be a mother soon. And she a few months later she had actually twin daughters, both alicorns. But only 2 years later after that, they had a son, which turned out to be a unicorn. And Universal Star and Sunburst could not be more happier to be with each other, and especially now, Universal Star had finally got her biggest dream to come true. To found her special sun pony, and especially to settle down and have a family of her own. And that's how Universal Star and Sunburst found true love got a big family. The end.